Hello and welcome to United Report. This is your home for all the latest Manchester United news, match updates, transfer stories, and in-depth analysis. Stay connected and never miss a moment. Subscribe now to stay ahead with everything happening at Old Trafford. A major overhaul is coming to Old Trafford this summer as Ruben Amorim bids to kickstart his revolution at Manchester United. Amorim is planning to move on at least 12 stars amid the Red Devils' worst league season for 51 years. Sunday's defeat to Tottenham was their 12th in the top flight this term and sent them down to 15th place in the table. In response, Amorim and United's recruitment team are preparing to get ruthless this summer. That starts with a clear out of 12 players, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe decreeing that every player has a price. If such a large number of stars do move on, United will have to make significant investment in new recruits. Here, Mirror Football looks at 7 stars United may seek to bring in to boost Amorim's squad. Top of United's wish list has to be a striker, given their awful scoring record since Amorim took over. The Red Devils have scored just 16 times in the 14 Premier League games the 39-year-old has overseen. He has a close relationship with Victor Gyökeres, who fired Sporting Lisbon to the Primeira Liga title last season. The Swede has again impressed this season, knotting 34 goals in 36 appearances in all competitions. Gyökeres is understood to have a gentleman's agreement to leave Sporting in the summer. United will have to fight off several top clubs to sign him, but the presence of Amorim may well be a trump card. A full-scale overhaul is attack is needed, with neither Rasmus Højlund nor Joshua Zirkzee proving to be up to scratch. That could lead to a move for Liam Delap, who has impressed with Ipswich Town. While the Tractor Boys are in the relegation zone, Delap has still managed to net 10 goals and notch 2 assists in the top flight. The 22-year-old may have 4 years to run on his contract, but if Ipswich do go down, they will surely need to sell him. Who better than the man who effectively replaced Manuel Ugarte at Sporting Lisbon to take hold of United's midfield problems? Morten Hjulmand has starred in the Portuguese capital since arriving in the summer of 2023, playing mainly as a defensive midfielder. As well as being well accustomed to Amorim's system, Hjulmand will also provide much-needed leadership, with the Dane having been named captain at the start of this season. He is understood to have a £66.5 million release clause in his contract. Having hopefully solved one wing-back issue by moving for Patrick Dorgu in January, Amorim may turn to the right side in the summer. Jeremy Frimpong would be a leading candidate, having previously been linked with a move to United. He was a key player as Bayer Leverkusen won the Bundesliga and DFB Pokal double last season. The 24-year-old has another 3 years to run on his deal, though Leverkusen may be happy to sell him as they look to retool Xabi Alonso for a fresh title challenge. Another key area that needs attention is centre-back, with Amorim's preferred system leaving United stretched on quality in this area. Lisandro Martinez's ACL injury also makes signing a central defender a priority for the summer. Given Ineos's desire for cost-cutting, Jonathan Tah could be an option, with the German's contract up in the summer. While he is 29, Tah has played all but 1 game for Leverkusen this term and has regularly captained them. Tah would be an experienced option, but if United wanted to go for youth, then Dean Huyson would likely be a leading target. He only joined Bournemouth last summer, but the 19-year-old has impressed for the Cherries and scored in their win at United in December. He has played every minute of their games since 5th December, in both the Premier League and the FA Cup. Having previously had spells at Juventus and Roma, Huyson has rare experience of featuring for big clubs. Amorim has struggled to find a partnership for the 2 number 10 slots in his preferred system. If Amorim looks to add a recruit in that area, then Matheus Cunha would be a leading option, having starred for Wolves. The Brazilian has scored 12 goals and notched 4 assists in the Premier League for the strugglers. While he recently extended his contract, there is a £62.5 million release clause which will activate in the summer. Ineos and the Mercedes Formula One team reportedly almost cut ties last year before a late change of heart from Manchester United part owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe saw him stay with the outfit. It is claimed that the Silver Arrows F1 team were having to look for ways to rid of Ratcliffe after he indicated a desire to step away. Ineos own 1/3 of the outfit, as do Mercedes themselves, with the other third being owned by team principal Toto Wolff. Mercedes were looking at how they could buy out Ratcliffe as negotiations became increasingly tense, but the British billionaire made a late U-turn and chose to remain committed to the sport, reports The Telegraph. They claim, via a source, that Ineos's sponsorship was ongoing and stable, and that the company's shareholding was not in question. However, when the car is launched on Tuesday evening, the Ineos branding will be less prominent and is unlikely to appear on the air intake above the driver's head, one of the major sponsor spots. The company also held space on both the front and rear wings in previous seasons. The news comes after New Zealand Rugby confirmed they were embarking on legal proceedings after Ineos backed out of their own sponsorship deal. They want to end a lucrative sponsorship agreement early. Ratcliffe's company became the team's official partner in 2021 on a 6-year deal. A statement from the All Blacks read, "Having learned of Ineos's decision to walk away 3 years early, we have moved to protect the interests of New Zealand Rugby and the wider game." The partnership between Ineos and the All Blacks was understood to be worth around £3.65 million per year. As part of that agreement, Ineos's name featured across the team's training gear and on warm-up kits during the recent autumn internationals. Branding also featured across the back of players' shorts. Last month, Ineos also parted ways with 4-time Olympic champion Ben Ainsley, despite backing the Britannia America's Cup sailing team since 2018. Ineos claimed they could not find agreement with Ainsley on terms to move forward after last year's event. Ineos now plans to compete in the next America's Cup under the Britannia name, but Ainsley's team have responded and said they were astounded by Ineos's future plans for the America's Cup and that the decision raises significant legal and practical obstacles for them. 2 leading credit ratings agencies recently raised red flags over Ineos Fitch ratings, and Moody's provide financial health checks for most big companies and highlighted how business had racked up debts that were between 5 to 6 times larger than the company's annual earnings. The departure of Marcus Rashford from Old Trafford in January conveyed a new status to Luke Shaw, who is now the most experienced member of the squad and the longest-serving player when it comes to playing for Manchester United. Shaw is into his 11th consecutive season of service to United and has 278 appearances. He is now at the top of the list for current players, with Rashford out of the picture. But the 29-year-old isn't going to feel much like celebrating as he continues his rehab and his latest attempt to get over another injury setback. Today is also a significant milestone for Shaw. It is a year since he last started for United in the win at Luton on February 18th, 2024. He has started in a European Championship final for England since then, but for his club, there have been 3 substitute appearances totaling 98 minutes, and that's it. He hasn't played since December 1st. Since then, there have been a couple of false starts, with the defender returning to training only to pick up another injury. Every time it happens, frustration mounts for Shaw, Ruben Amorim and supporters. Just under 2 weeks ago, Amorim called this latest problem a small issue in a different area from the last injury. He hasn't trained since, and caution is again the watchword, but at some point he needs to play a game. When he does, he might find that his status as the most experienced player in the dressing room has already been stripped away. Because here's the thing. Shaw made his United debut on September 27th, 2014, and has made 278 appearances for the club. Bruno Fernandes made his debut on February 1st, 2020, and has played 270 times. This sums up Shaw's injury record during his time at United and explains why so many fans have already given up on him ever being able to be a reliable contributor to the cause again. Since Fernandes signed and racked up those 270 appearances, Shaw has played 108 games. Rashford made his United debut 18 months after Shaw, but has played 148 more games for the club. According to Transfermarkt, Shaw has been unavailable for more than 300 United games through injury and has spent 1,659 days on the sidelines in 11 years. That is the equivalent of missing 4.5 years of football through injury. The first thing to say is that this is staggeringly bad luck. Shaw's first serious injury at United was gruesome and could have easily ended his career. He showed resilience in recovering from that horrendous leg break in Eindhoven, but has found it difficult to stay fit for prolonged periods. The shame for Shaw is that he seemed to have cracked it a couple of years ago. He missed just 3 games in Erik ten Hag's successful first season in charge and emerged as not only an outstanding left-back, but also a reliable left-sided centre-back. After his brilliant European Championship campaign in 2021, he was at the top of his game. In January 2023, during that first Ten Hag campaign, he played centre-back against Erling Haaland in the Manchester derby at Old Trafford. United won, and Haaland managed 0 shots on target and 0 key passes. But the last 2 years have been a disaster. The frustration with Shaw's fitness record amongst supporters stems from the fact he managed to return for England last summer, but then broke down again back at Carrington. As with any player with such a run of injury misfortune, it is worth bearing in mind that nobody will be hurting more than Shaw, who is spending the peak years of his career on the treatment table. He will be desperate to get back and help his teammates now. United really could use his quality on the ball as a left-sided centre-back in Amorim's 3-4-2-1, and it's only been 3 years since he excelled as a wing-back. He still has 2 years remaining on his contract at Old Trafford, and his recent injury record means suitors are unlikely to be queuing up. 2 years ago, Shaw proved his quality. Now, he needs to get fit and stay fit to win over his latest United manager. But that is proving easier said than done.